Why we confuse attention with love. We live in a world where attention is everywhere, but love feels rare. Messages arrive instantly, likes stack up, views climb, and notifications never stop. Yet despite all this attention, many people feel lonely, unseen, and emotionally unsatisfied. That's because attention and love are not the same thing, even though they often feel similar at first. Attention is stimulating. It makes us feel wanted, chosen, and validated. Love is stabilizing. It makes us feel safe, understood, and emotionally held. The problem is that modern culture teaches us to chase the feeling of being desired rather than the experience of being known. We learn to measure our worth by how much attention we receive, not by the depth of connection we build. When attention replaces love, relationships become confusing. We feel excited but insecure, wanted but unsafe, admired but not truly understood. Emotional highs get mistaken for intimacy, and consistency gets mistaken for boredom. This confusion keeps us chasing intensity instead of building connection. This conversation isn't about judging attention. It's about understanding it. When we learn the difference between attention and love, we stop settling for crumbs of validation and start choosing relationships that actually nourish us. Because attention can be given to many, but love requires presence, effort, and emotional responsibility. 5 key points of the speech. 1. Attention feels like love because it activates desire. Attention triggers excitement and dopamine, making it feel emotionally powerful, even when there is no real connection behind it. 2. Love is built on safety, not stimulation. True love grows through emotional consistency, trust, and presence, not constant excitement or reassurance. 3. Validation can create addiction, not attachment. Chasing attention often leads to emotional dependence, not genuine intimacy or security. 4. Inconsistent attention creates stronger attachment. Unpredictable attention keeps people emotionally hooked, confusing anxiety with passion. 5. Real love requires effort, not just interest. Love shows up in actions, accountability, and emotional availability, not just words, messages, or attraction. Why we confuse attention with love. We live in an age where attention is abundant, but love feels increasingly rare. Our phones light up constantly. Messages arrive instantly. Someone is always watching, liking, reacting, replying. And yet, beneath all of this noise, many people feel deeply unseen. That contradiction is not accidental, it's psychological. Attention feels powerful, it stimulates us, it makes us feel chosen in the moment. Love, however, does something very different. It calms us, it grounds us, it makes us feel safe even when nothing exciting is happening. And that difference is exactly why we confuse the two. Attention excites the nervous system. Love soothes it. In a world addicted to stimulation, we often mistake excitement for intimacy and anxiety for passion. We chase intensity, not realizing we're starving for stability. This speech is about slowing down and asking a difficult question. What if the reason relationships feel confusing isn't because love is broken, but because we've been taught to mistake attention for it? 1. Attention feels like love because it activates desire. Attention triggers dopamine, the chemical of anticipation and wanting. When someone texts you, compliments you, flirts with you, or watches your stories, your brain lights up. It feels good. It feels validating. It feels meaningful. But dopamine doesn't create attachment. It creates pursuit. This is why attention can feel intoxicating even when it's empty. Someone doesn't have to know you to activate desire. They don't have to care about your emotional world. They just have to notice you. In the early stages, attention mimics intimacy. Late night conversations, constant messages, quick replies, it all feels like closeness. But closeness isn't measured by frequency. It's measured by emotional presence. Attention says, I'm interested right now. Love says, I'm here even when it's inconvenient. The brain doesn't always know the difference at first. That's why we confuse chemistry with compatibility and intensity with intimacy. Attention pulls us forward. Love holds us steady. When we don't understand this, we chase people who stimulate us rather than those who support us. And stimulation fades quickly. Support does not. 2. Love is built on safety, not stimulation. Love doesn't feel dramatic all the time. In fact, healthy love often feels quiet, predictable, steady, and for people conditioned to chaos, that can feel unsettling. Safety doesn't spike dopamine. It lowers cortisol. In love, you're not constantly wondering where you stand. You're not reading between the lines. You're not performing for reassurance. You're allowed to rest. But modern culture teaches us that love should feel intense at all times. That butterflies are proof, that calm means boredom, that peace means something is missing. So when we experience safety, we sometimes mislabel it as lack of attraction. This is why many people feel drawn to emotionally unavailable partners. Inconsistency creates anxiety. Anxiety creates obsession. Obsession gets mistaken for love. But real love doesn't keep you guessing. It doesn't make you earn basic respect. It doesn't disappear when things get real. Love is not loud. It's consistent, and consistency feels boring only to a nervous system addicted to stimulation. 3. Validation can create addiction, not attachment. Validation feels good because it temporarily fills. Insecurity. When someone desires you, compliments you, or chooses you, even briefly, it reassures your sense of worth. But validation does not equal care. Validation says, you make me feel something. Love says, I take responsibility for how I affect you. When we rely on validation for self-worth, we become emotionally dependent on attention. We start craving reassurance rather than connection. And the more validation we get, the more we need. This is how attention becomes addictive. You may feel wanted by many people, but deeply connected to none. Love doesn't just affirm you when it's easy, it stays present when you're tired, flawed, emotional, or inconvenient. Validation disappears the moment it stops feeling exciting. That's why attention can feel intense but empty. It feeds the ego, not the bond. When people confuse validation with love, they stay in cycles of emotional hunger, always wanting more and never feeling fulfilled. 4. Inconsistent attention creates stronger attachment. One of the most dangerous illusions is that emotional chaos equals passion, inconsistent attention. Hot and cold behavior, mixed signals, unpredictability keeps the nervous system on edge. And an activated nervous system mistakes anxiety for attraction. This is why people say, I don't know why I'm so attached. You're not attached to the person. You're attached to the emotional roller coaster. The brain becomes obsessed with resolution. It wants clarity. It wants the next hit of attention. And when tea arrives, the relief feels euphoric. But this is not intimacy. It's emotional conditioning. Love does not keep you uncertain. Love does not disappear to make you chase. Love does not reward you randomly. Consistency doesn't create obsession. It creates trust, and trust is what allows real intimacy to grow. 5. Real love requires effort, not just interest. Attention is easy. Love is demanding. Attention requires curiosity. Love requires responsibility. Anyone can be interested when things are fun. Love shows up when things are hard. Love listens when it's uncomfortable. Love stays when ego wants to run. Attention asks, do you excite me? Love asks, can I be accountable to you? This is why many people want the feeling of love without the work of love. They want closeness without vulnerability, passion without consistency, desire without responsibility. But love is built through effort, emotional maturity, and presence. It grows in honesty, not performance, in actions, not promises. When we understand this, we stop chasing people who only offer attention and start valuing those who offer emotional availability, closing reflection, conclusion. When we confuse attention with love, we stay emotionally hungry. We chase intensity instead of intimacy. We mistake anxiety for passion and validation for connection. But when we learn the difference, everything changes. We stop asking, do they want me? And start asking, do they show up for me? Love doesn't need to be loud to be real. It doesn't need to be dramatic to be meaningful. It needs to be present, consistent, and emotionally safe. In a world overflowing with attention, choosing love means choosing depth over noise, presence over performance, connection over excitement. And that choice, made consciously, is what finally leads us home. Thank you and goodbye note. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this talk helped you see your relationships or yourself more clearly, take that awareness with you. Understanding is the first step toward healthier love. If you want more conversations like this about desire, intimacy, psychology, and modern relationships, subscribe to The Dating Psychology and turn on notifications. Take care of your heart. Protect your attention. I'll see you in the next video.